What if Luffy entered the Culling Games? Not pre-time skip, not early Wano. I'm talking Gear 5, Yonko level, sky-splitting Luffy. But before we decide how far he goes, let's set the rules. The Culling Games is a death tournament created by Kenjaku. Players are forced into colonies surrounded by barriers. Once you're inside, you fight. You earn points by killing other players. You can spend 100 points to add a new rule to the game. And the biggest threat? Domain expansions, sure hit techniques, barrier-based battlefields where the caster controls the environment. Now, here's how we're scaling this. We're using current Gear 5 Luffy. No verse equalization, meaning Haki is still Haki. Cursed energy is still cursed energy. And Gojo is not included because he's sealed during most of the Culling Games. Now let's begin. The moment Luffy drops into a colony is chaos. Most players rely on cursed techniques that amplify physical attacks, but Luffy is already operating on Yonko level stats. He splits the sky clashing with Kaido. He tanked Thunder Bagwas. He fought for hours at the highest tier of power, so the average reincarnated sorcery, they're not lasting long. Close combat, advanced conquerors, haki coating means Luffy doesn't even need to touch you directly. The impact explodes on contact. Long range attacks, he grabs lightning, he rubberizes the ground, he bounces back massive blasts. Now, let's talk about domains. Yes, the guarantee hits, but guarantee doesn't mean unbeatable. If the opponent massively outskills you, durability and raw power still matter. Luffy's haki is spiritual pressure, pure willpower, and his will has clashed with Emperor. Inside most domains, he doesn't panic, he overwhelms, and in Gear 5, he doesn't follow logic. He turns the battlefield into rubber. He stretches, twists, and fights with total freedom. Barriers aren't cages if you can punch through them. Ikari hits jackpot, that just means he survives longer. Luffy has fought longer battles at a higher level. Yuta copies techniques, that's dangerous. But Luffy doesn't depend on techniques. He overwhelmed with raw strength, speed, and advanced haki. By the time the game reaches its later stages, Luffy has stacked points. He understands the system, and if he really wanted to, he could even add a rule. Imagine Luffy adding a rule that benefits the weak or protects civilians. That's exactly the kind of chaos he'd cause. By the end of the Culling Games, there's only one presence dominating the colony, and it's not cursed energy, it's conquerors haki flooding the battlefield. Final verdict: without outside interference, Luffy doesn't just survive the Culling Games, he clears it. Because cursed techniques are powerful, but a Yonko's will, that's a different level. If you think a domain stops Gear 5, tell me how. If you think Luffy clears even harder than this, say it in the comments and tell me who you want thrown into the Culling Games next.